feed. But let's not waste any time and let's not waste any money. First of all, don't go out, rush out and buy it if you already got something. For instance, if you get any fertilizer left over, simply take that dry fertilizer and put a little bit of dry powdered soap in it. Say this is a third of a bag, a quarter of a bag that's left in there. So I'm going to put about a quarter of a cup of ordinary dry laundry soap in there, and I'm going to shake it up real good. The reason I put the soap in there is to take the protection off of the weeds and to make it more effective and more efficient. So now I'm going to put it into my fertilizer spreader. I'm going to put my fertilizer spreader on the recommendation for fertilizer. In this case, it's going to be on a medium. And so now what I'm going to do is go over the top of the area. I would do this entire area, but I'm on about a medium spread, and I would spread it over the whole area of the lawn, including I would put it right over the top of that weed. Now, I've just done my feed, right? Now, the next thing to do is just go back up and get your ordinary broadleaf weed killer, put about 2 or 3 drops of soap into it, any liquid soap in it. Remember what I just told you that the soap does? And now what you do is hook your hose onto it, and now water in your entire yard over the top of the fertilizer that you did with weed killer, because that's what's in here is weed killer. Now I've got a weed and feed, and I've used up the materials that I have available. Now let's just say that you've got a regular weed and feed, a liquid weed and feed. Well, you can use that the same way. The only difference that you do here with a weed and feed is that I, again, put the ordinary liquid dish soap, and I put about 4 or 5 drops inside of here, and now I've got I got my regular weed and feed is now operating for me with the fertilizer in it, and the soap takes off the protection that's on there, and then the weeds are killed. So I've wasted no time, I've wasted no effort, and I'm efficient. Now, the one thing with sprayers are that, you know, when you've got flowers around, you have to be careful of drift. So when you spray, I want to show you something. If I'm spraying, first of all, I like to find out which way the wind is blowing if I'm using weed killers, and I am. So then what happens is I play the wind and stay away from anything that I don't want to hit. You know, and the best thing to do is to always keep your sprayer below your waist so that you keep the drift down. But if I were to let this drift too far, it would drift back into the evergreens and the rest of it. Since I have a problem that others don't have, well, some people do. I have a vacant lot next door to me, and this vacant lot has all kinds of weeds in it, including crabgrass. Well, I've been able to fight that. But at this time of the year, what I would do is I would move in over there, and that's when I would take my weed and feed with the soap in it, and I'm going to get the broadest weeds first, and I would work this whole area back and forth. Now I'm sure that this is going to stick over this entire area to keep them out of the way. Now, on the crabgrass that's sitting there, that presents another problem. If you notice the head on any one of the crabgrass plants, there are 100,000 seeds there. One of those seeds germinates in your yard, one plant next year, you got 100,000 weeds in your yard. So the best thing in the world to do is kill weeds in the fall, waste not, want not, use up what you have, and you'll have the greenest grass in the block on your side of the fence with no unexpected visitors. A clean garden is a happy garden, and if you don't take any other advice I give you, if you just learn to constantly wash and shampoo your lawn and your garden, you'll have the best looking garden and the best looking lawn in the whole neighborhood. It's simply by washing off the dirt, dust, and pollution so that osmosis and photosynthesis can take place, and it also discourages insects from coming around. It also softens the soil. Using soap softens the soil, so surface tension that you've heard me talk about in various areas, especially to soil, it softens the soil so that water and food goes in and penetrates. Now, any kind of soap, but what I like is I like lemon-scented soap and lemon-scented ammonia, and I use them at a ratio of a teaspoon to the quart, tablespoon to the gallon, or a cup to 20 gallons in equal amounts. So I would have if I was using a cup to a 20 gallons, this happens to be a 40-gallon sprayer now by putting this 2-liter bottle in there. I'd have a half a cup of children's shampoo and a half a cup of lemon-scented soap in there, and then I would put a half a cup of lemon-scented ammonia. Ammonia is a thunderstorm in a bottle without noise. And you want to remember that all of your fall plants, especially your perennials, the Shasta daisies and the lazy Susies and all the rest of them, the black-eyed Susies, they're all trying to put energy and food down to their babies. When they go into hibernation, they want food to live off until the ground freezes solid. So just that little bit of nitrogen from ammonia will help it. Once I've shampooed the yard, or shampooed the garden real good, then I turn my attention to disease control in the garden. I make a spray out of either Sprite or 7-Up, antiseptic mouthwash, and liquid dish soap. And what I do is I fill whatever jar, whatever bottle I'm working on, I would fill it half full of 7-Up or Sprite. Then I would put in 1 ounce of antiseptic mouthwash, and then I would fill the balance with soapy water, and the soapy water is based on a tablespoon to the gallon. And what happens now is that the Sprite or the 7-Up that's in there kills a lot of the bacteria, while the mouthwash, the antiseptic mouthwash, prevents bacteria from growing, especially that comes in the real warm days, and then there's dew, and then there's dampness and cool at night. Well, this would prevent that from happening. And the reason that I use the soap is the carrier that makes it stick on there. And the thing is that you can't do it enough, right up until the ground freezes. Whenever you go out to water your plants, your trees or your shrubs, and they got to have a lot of water going into winter. Go ahead and make this mixture, especially with the 7-Up or Sprite in it, and just water them with that and feed them real good. Now, the next thing I have to concern myself with are insects. Now, you've heard of dormant spraying. Well, I'll use Liquid 7. Liquid 7 is a safe and very broad spectrum, mild insecticide. When I do that, what I'll do is I'll mix it right inside of soapy water at 50% of the recommended rate of whatever it says on the back of this bottle. And then what I'll do is put about a half a cup of any of the pops in. I can use 7-Up or Sprite or Coke or Pepsi or root beer, any of those. Those will go in. And then I'll overspray the rest of that. I do it once in November, and I probably try to do it when it's above freezing and the weather won't hurt. Now, the next thing we have to concern ourselves about are plants, are broadleaf plants, broadleaf evergreens and needled evergreens. And here what we use is an anti-desiccant. An anti-desiccant is a plastic coating, and what it does is it coats and puts like putting a snowsuit on, especially on hollies. And you spray it to the point of runoff, and you'll see that it's milky. Well, what happens is it coats the plant, holds the moisture in, so that as it takes the moisture out of the soil during the winter until the weather freezes, until the ground freezes, it comes up and it stays in the leaves. It can't sweat or go back in. So you can spray it either with a hand pump sprayer like this, and these are inexpensive and available in all garden centers, or a compression sprayer. And it's 3 ounces to the gallon, and you can spray evergreens, shrubs, any of the plants that are going to be out there. The thing is, protect your garden from insects, diseases, and winter conditions. These holes and spots are the result of runaway lawn disease. These spots are that same disease in its very beginning when you can control it. The way to control diseases is don't wait until they've done any more. If there's a difference in color in varying locations, then immediately you're going to assume that you have a lawn disease unless you've been out there with a weed killer, with a full-purpose killer. My first advice sounds like a broken record. The first thing that you do is you use soap and water, and you soap and water down the area to remove the surface tension. So the medication that I'm going to use, the fungicide that I'm going to use, will penetrate into the soil and into the plant. Now, the medications that we use to kill lawn diseases and plant diseases is as expensive, if not more expensive, than the antibiotics that we use on humans and animals. So the thing is, you don't want to waste it, and you want to use the most efficient and most effective. The most effective all-around medication for lawn turf diseases is a chemical called Benomol. It's available in many brand names. It's in dry form. You will set your spreader at the recommended rate on the back. You will not figure that if it says to set it on a 2, that 4 will kill it deader than anything, because it doesn't work that way. It's only as efficient and as effective as the first application. So in this case, I'm going to put down 2 pounds to the acre. So I am going to put it on a very thin application, and I'm going to make sure that I overlap in the area over where I put the soap down. Now when I'm done, I'm not going to end up going back over and putting more medication down. I am merely going to go beyond the area where the disease was. Then I'm going to get my soap and water out again, and I'm going to wet it down so it stays in place very quickly. Now that's the way to apply a dry application. Now liquids are not more effective. They act a little faster, but they're no more effective. And the best chemical for that is one called Daconil. Daconil is available in any garden center. Again, it's pretty expensive. As a matter of fact, this bottle was almost $15. You literally would not need that whole bottle, I don't think, to cover 5,000 square feet. But in this case, I'm going to fill my applicator with just a little bit of the chemical, and then I'm going to hook it to the hose. Now, this is a different sprayer than you've seen before. This is a measured meter sprayer. This takes the raw chemical, that is the chemical just the way it comes out of the bottle, not mixed with water or anything, and then puts it into the water stream at a ratio that's pre-measured. The numbers that are on here, 1 through 21, determine 1 tablespoon to 21 tablespoons. In this case, it calls for 3 tablespoons, so I will move it to the 3 tablespoons to the gallon. And now I've only put about the amount of chemical in there that I think I will be using. And I will now overspray this area with the chemical in exactly the same manner that I did by using the dry. You do not have to use them both. I'm only doing this to show you the effect of it, and to make sure that you go a little bit beyond. But the thing is, you cannot, under any circumstances, let diseases get away if you want the greenest grass in the block on your side of the fence. If you use these fall cleanup tips, tricks, and tonics, you should have a great head start on your lawn and garden next spring. Remember, you've got a lot to do, and the days are getting shorter. So make the most of your work in the yard. I promise, with just a little investment of time, you can have the best-looking lawn on the block. The same is true with public television. If you'll invest in quality programming now, your dividend will be added enjoyment and entertainment throughout the weeks and months ahead. You may even learn a thing or two. You just need to call with your pledge of financial support. Remember, just like in your yard, you make it happen. This public television special was made possible with your financial support. And now, I'm America's Master Gardener, Jerry Baker, urging you to get out and get growing. Spring is just around the corner. I hope I see you in the garden, and please, make that call.
The fall is right around the corner. You've heard some great gardening tips to get your lawn and garden prepared for next spring. And if you're a gardener, you know this is a very critical time of the year. If you've enjoyed this Jerry Baker Marathon, and in particular this program on the fall cleanup, we hope you're on your way to the telephone right now, 1-800-639-5057, to make as generous a pledge of support as you possibly can. And if you'd like to have a video cassette of this program you've been watching, this very program with Jerry Baker on how to get your lawn and garden ready for the fall, or actually for the spring in the fall, make that pledge right now, a $60 pledge on your Visa or MasterCard or a check or on installments, however you want to do it. We'll have it winging its way to you. There were some great tips in this program. One of our phone volunteers wanted to know where was the Listerine this time. He didn't seem to use Listerine in this program. That was a very precious commodity in the programs before that, but he used more traditional sort of lawn chemicals. But Jerry's got a very different, interesting approach to lawn and garden care. If you've enjoyed this program, now's the time to say thank you. We broadcast the Lawns and Gardens program last March, and it was so successful that Iowa Public Television went out and produced 2 more shows that we broadcast to you today. So just think what your dollars invested in this station with your call of support right now can bring to you. More great shows on gardening, more great how-to shows, but it all starts with your call to 1-800-639-5057. Where are you? Don't tune out. We got another great show on how to use the internet, which is growing like a weed itself. That's why we're going from gardening to the internet. Little joke there, sorry. But we're waiting to hear from you. Won't you call right now, 1-800-639-5057. Do it right now while it's fresh in your memory. Keith?
Steve, we're looking for these phones to start ringing now, and I don't hear any of them, so we've got plenty of time, or plenty of phone lines open for you to call. And it really is a very simple thing to do. You just dial the number on your screen, 1-800-639-5057. We've got operators standing by, ready to take your call. They'll ask you your name and the amount of your pledge, and that's all there is to it. So there's no reason why you shouldn't go to your phone right now. It's 1-800-639-5057. Payment is as easy as it could possibly be. You can pay with your MasterCard, you can pay with your Visa, you can pay with your personal check. You can even spread your pledge and spread it out and pay in installments. So there is absolutely no reason why you shouldn't go to the, thank you very much. You shouldn't go to the phone right now, 1-800-639-5057. Dick?
Well, you know, at the end of all the programs that you see on your public television station, it thanks viewer support, viewers just like you. I hope that you are one of those people that that little saying is talking about. You are the people that make it happen. You're the members that support public television and, in a sense, support partnerships. We have the idea here that the partnerships are important because they will continue to bring programs such as this to you. We're talking in terms of, you know, Steve mentioned Iowa Public Television acted in response. Well, we did this because we had money to do it, money from membership like you. The videos are very important. We have all three of these programs now, the Lawns in the Garden, the household plants that we had just brought to you, and now the one, the fall cleanup. We really have a bargain. You know, each one of these we could offer to you for $60. If there's a particular one, we would offer to you for $60, but we've got a real bargain. And I think if my math is right, $150 for all three is a bargain. But more important, it will bring these videos to you so that you can use them again, but beyond that, it'll give you the satisfaction of helping out public television. If this is your time to renew, if you have been a lapsed member who had not joined for a couple of years or a year, please take that opportunity right now. Go to the phones, make them ring, show your pledge of support around this particular program. We have another good one coming in terms of the internet, as Steve has said, but this is the time to do it. Don't wait. You be that one person that can make the difference. 1-800-639-5057. Steve.
This program, when we first broadcast it, had the phones literally ringing off the hook, and we took a little risk today and brought you 3 Jerry Baker programs, thinking that this would be something that would be very timely for you. It was a gardening how-to audience in the late afternoon, and thought, let's bring you Jerry Baker, let's bring you 3 programs, let's bring you the brand new fall cleanup program, because now it is about the middle of August, and we're all going to start doing that within the next month. If you appreciate this, now's the time to make that call of support. In just a couple of minutes, we're going to go change gears and go into a program about the internet, which is something that we hear so much about. And if you don't know much about the internet, stay tuned. This is going to be a wonderful program. And after that, we've got a Grateful Dead concert, long scheduled here on the station before the unfortunate death of Jerry Garcia. We scheduled this a couple of months ago. We've got the Grateful Dead from 1980. So it's another great night of very eclectic programming on GBY 57. But that's what you've come to expect. But right now, we're talking to you, those of you who are how-to fans. And if you've been watching this program, you probably value the Victory Garden and This Old House and the other how-to programs that tell you how to do things. And if you've been enjoying Jerry Baker, please make a call of support right now. 1-800-639-5057 is the way you register your support for This Old House and how-to programs and Jerry Baker and all those programs that you enjoy. If you've been following the news lately, you may have been reading some things or hearing some things about the federal funding issue for public broadcasting. And I've got the classic good news, bad news scenario here for you. The good news is it looks as though some level of federal support is going to continue for the next at least couple of years for public broadcasting. The bad news is that the amount of support that we receive is going to decline fairly drastically beginning in about a month as the federal government enters its fiscal year. It's going to be about a $70,000 loss of revenue to WGBY, which means 2,000 new members at a $35 level just to make up that margin of difference. So your support right now is so vitally important to allow us to not just hold on, but to press forth and invest more dollars in great programs on your behalf. We don't want to retreat. You don't want us to retreat, but your support is very important in continuing us on the track of growing our garden of great programs. 1-800-639-5057. Won't you please call right now? Keith?
Steve, I want to make two important points. One is that the Memorial Society has issued a challenge for all people who call in with new basic memberships. A basic membership is a pledge of $35, and with that basic membership, you'll get your WGBY membership card. You'll receive 12 monthly issues of Primetime, WGBY's program guide. And of course, if you use your Visa or MasterCard to charge that basic pledge, you'll receive a WGBY coffee mug. But I want to say it's very important to take this challenge up from the Memorial Society, because they will match dollar for dollar every new basic membership pledge. So for every $35 pledge that we receive, they will match it, and it'll mean $70 coming into the station. So we wanted to have all of you please be aware of that. And if you haven't become a member of WGBY, please take the time now to make that call. 1-800-639-5057. Remember, you are our single largest source of revenue, so your basic membership is very important to us. Dick?
It sure is very important to us. We've been talking about the importance of closing out the fiscal year in good stead. It is important, and we do it with one pledge at a time, one membership at a time. We just are very convinced that we can increase the membership base at Channel 57. With over 200,000 potential viewers in this area, it should not be that difficult to increase our membership base, but it means that members must take that initiative either to increase their membership, or we must get new membership to help stave off the cuts that come in. Steve mentioned the amount of $35 pledges that we need. It's very important to continue. So we are going to go back to internet, but remember, if you want the videos, we have the videos available. If you want the pamphlets, we have the pamphlets available. Call our operators with your pledge of support. They'll talk to you about ways that we can say thank you. The internet program that's coming up in a couple of seconds is sort of a change of pace, but not really when you consider the how-to programs that we're talking about. And this is actually, it's a how-to. It tells you how to get onto the internet. It tells you what the internet is all about, and it certainly is going to make it very easy for you. I hope you enjoy this program, but more importantly, if you've made a pledge of support, we thank you for that pledge of support, and we'll be in the studio for a few minutes while you enjoy our program on internet.